All right, ladies and gentlemen, in this video, I'm going to go over how to graph and how to write inequalities. So let's take a look right at problem number 1. It says x is greater than 4. So when we go to graph this, we have what's called open circles and closed circles. When we have open circles, that means that the value is not a part of the solution. Not, okay? And one way I remember that is the word not has the letter O, which looks like an open circle. Then we also have what's called closed circles, and that's when the number is a part of the solution. Okay, so it is. So I'll show you how that works. X is greater than 4. That means X cannot be 4. So therefore, we're going to have an open circle above above 4. And then now we need to figure out which way our arrow is going to go. So our arrow is going to represent any values that could represent x. So what are some numbers that are greater than 4? 5 is greater than 4, 6 is greater than 4. So that means that our arrow is going to be moving towards the right, okay? Because our arrow represents x, or any number that could represent x. Looking at question number 2, it says x is less than or equal to 2.5. So in this particular case, we're going to look for where 2.5 is. So 2.5 is between 2 and 3. So I'm going to draw a circle here. Now we just need to figure out if it's going to be open or closed. Because it says x is less than or equal to, that means that 2.5 could be a part of the solution set. So we want to fill in that circle. Now we just need to figure out which way our arrow is going to go. Because our arrow represents x, it says x is less than. So what are some numbers that are less than 2.5? That would be 2, that would be 1, so on and so forth. So our arrow is going to be going towards the left. Looking at problem number 3, it says 6 is greater than x. So the first thing we need to do is figure out if it's going to be an open or closed circle. Because it doesn't have that or equal to symbol underneath it, we're going to have an open circle because x cannot be 6. And now we just need to figure out which way our arrow is going to go. Now it says 6 is greater than x. So that means x is going to be smaller than 6. So some numbers smaller than 6 would be 5, 4, 3, so on and so forth. So our arrow is going to go towards the left. Looking at problem number 4, it says 3 is less than or equal to x. So we're going to be looking at the number 3. I'm going to draw my circle. It is going to be closed this time because it has that or equal to symbol right here. So that's going to be our filler for our circle, if you will. And it's saying 3 is less than x. So that means x is going to be bigger. So we need to think of some numbers that would be bigger than 3. Numbers bigger than 3 would be 4, 5, 6, so on and so forth. So our arrow is going to go towards the right. Now, for problems 5, 6, and 7, it's showing us a graph. Our job is to write the inequality. So looking at this one, I notice it's an open circle. Anytime we have an open circle, we're dealing with either less than, greater than, or not equal to. So in this particular case, x looks like it's going to be numbers that are larger. So because they're larger, our inequality symbol is going to want to go towards the x. Or you could look at it as Pac-Man. If I were to connect this, you see how it makes a little Pac-Man and it wants to go towards the x? So in this particular case, 2 is less than x. For number 6, notice our arrows are going both ways. That means it could be any number, but it's not going to include x because it's not filled, or it's not going to include 4 because it's not filled in. So in this particular case, we have a not equal to symbol. And for question number 7, we have a filled in circle, so we know we're going to have that or equal to bar. And then if you notice that the arrow is going towards the left, and all of these numbers are smaller than 5. So x is going to be less than or equal to 5.